Hey everyone, welcome back to Yusuf Reacts. Today, we are diving into the Speed Force with the much anticipated movie of 2003 The Flash. I'm your name, and I'll be your guide on this cinematic journey. Let's get started. So, The Flash is finally here, directed by Andy Muschietti and starring Ezra Miller as Barry Allen, aka The Flash. This movie has been in the works for quite some time, and fans have been eagerly waiting to see how it shapes up. Let's break down the plot, performances, and some standout moments. First off, a quick synopsis. Without giving away too many spoilers, The Flash follows Barry Allen as he discovers his ability to travel back in time. He decides to use this power to prevent his mother's murder, but this decision leads to unintended consequences that alter the timeline. Barry finds himself in a reality where there's no Justice League, and he must team up with an alternate version of himself, a different Batman, and a new Supergirl to fix the timeline and save the world. Let's talk performances. Ezra Miller brings a unique charm and depth to Barry Allen. Their portrayal captures both the lightheartedness and the emotional weight of the character's journey. Michael Keaton returns as Batman, and it's a nostalgic treat for fans of the 1989 Batman. Sasha Cale makes her debut as Supergirl, and she definitely leaves an impression with her strong performance. Visually, The Flash is a feast for the eyes. The special effects are top-notch, especially during the Speed Force sequences. The way the film portrays time travel and alternate realities is both creative and visually stunning. The action scenes are well choreographed, making full use of the Flash's super speed. For all you comic book fans out there, this movie is packed with Easter eggs and references. From nods to the Flashpoint storyline to surprise cameos, there's a lot to unpack. Be sure to keep an eye out for those subtle hints and callbacks to the larger DC universe. Barry Allen uses his super speed to change the past, but his attempt to save his family creates a world without superheroes, forcing him to race for his life in order to save the future. Barry Allen is struck by a bolt of lightning and thus, an extraordinary power is born inside him, the Speed Force. When he uses this power to run back in time and save his mother, he creates a world without heroes and General Zod has returned. To defeat him, his only hope rests in the hands of a retired Batman, another Barry, and an imprisoned Kryptonian. Worlds collide when Barry uses his superpowers to travel back in time in order to change the events of the past. But when his attempt to save his family inadvertently alters the future, Barry becomes trapped in a reality in which General Zod has returned, threatening annihilation, and there are no superheroes to turn to. Barry Allen has always been well known as the Flash as he continues to juggle between civilian life and his superhero duties. After helping Bruce Wayne Batman and Diana Prince Wonder Woman stop a robbery in Gotham City, Barry Allen revisits his childhood home, where he lived with his parents Nora and Henry, before Henry's wrongful imprisonment for Nora's murder. On the day of her death, Nora sent Henry to the grocery store for a can of tomatoes that she forgot to buy, leaving her alone in the kitchen, resulting in her being killed by an unidentified assailant. Overcome by emotions, Barry accidentally uses the Speed Force to form a chronoball and travel back in time earlier in the day. Despite Bruce's warnings of time travel's unintended consequences, Barry time travels and places the can of tomatoes in Nora's cart at the store, so that his father will not have to leave the house. As he returns to the present, Barry is knocked out of the chronoball by an unknown speedster and ends up in a 2013 where Nora is alive. He encounters his parents, his past self, and realizes this is the day he originally obtained his powers. To make sure his past self gains superpowers, the two Barrys go to the Central City Police Department, where Barry reenacts the event for 2013 Barry to be struck by lightning. Both end up getting struck by the lightning, giving 2013 Barry powers, but causing Barry to lose his own. As Barry struggles to train 2013 Barry on properly using his powers, they learn that General Zod is preparing to invade Earth. See, in an effort to fight Zod, the Barrys attempt to assemble the Justice League but are unsuccessful. In this timeline, Diana cannot be located, Victor Stone has not gained his abilities yet, and Arthur Curry never existed. They travel to Wayne Manor, hoping to find Bruce, but instead find an alternate variant who has long retired. Bruce theorizes that using time travel to alter history affects events both prior to and after the alteration. They convince Bruce to return as Batman and help them find Kal-El Superman. The Barrys and Batman locate a Kryptonian pod discovered in Siberia. Upon arrival, they instead find Kal-El's cousin, Kara Zor-El, imprisoned in the facility. They rescue Kara and return to Wayne Manor. Barry enlists Bruce's help to regain his power once more. The first two attempts fail, prompting Kara to fly Barry into a storm, where he regains his powers. Kara and Batman join the Barrys to fight Zod and his forces. During the battle, Kara learns that Zod had intercepted Kal-El's escape pod from Krypton and killed him while attempting to extract the codex needed to repopulate the Kryptonian species. Zod reveals that the codex is actually within Kara. Zod subdues and kills her, then extracts the codex from her blood. Meanwhile, Batman sacrifices himself in an unsuccessful attempt to destroy Zod's ship. The Barrys repeatedly time travel to save Batman and Kara but keep failing. Barry realizes that this sequence of events cannot be changed, but 2013 Barry keeps trying. As 2013 Barry travels, the multiverse starts to implode. The unknown speedster who initially knocked Barry out of the Speed Force returns, and is revealed to be an older, future version of 2013 Barry who still believes he can defeat Zod and save his Earth. He becomes angry when Barry reveals his intention to reverse the changes he made to the timeline by letting Nora die. The elder 2013 Barry attempts to kill Barry, but instead impales young 2013 Barry, who sacrifices himself to save Barry and wipe his future self from the timeline. Barry reverts the timeline and comes to terms with his mother's death. However, he subtly alters the past by moving the tomato cans to a higher shelf. Returning to the present day, Barry attends Henry's court hearing, where the security footage now reveals Henry looking up to grab the tomato can, allowing for his exoneration. Barry is then contacted by Bruce, whose appearance has changed once again as a result of the timeline alteration. So it does not live up to the positive buzz from the early screenings. It's nowhere near being one of the best comic book movies of all time. It's not even in the conversation for being one of the best DC movies. But I did have a lot of fun with it. A lot may depend on your feelings of Ezra Miller. Younger Barry Allen was really annoying, but I think that's the point. I had no issues with them in the role. The standout for me was Michael Keaton. When Batman is doing his things and Danny Elfman's iconic score is booming, it's a joy. But make no mistake, this is not Batman 3. It's a Flash movie that features Keaton's Batman. Supergirl was good, I enjoyed her, and if she gets a standalone, I'd watch it. There were some surprises that I'm amazed have not leaked. It feels its runtime at times, and some of the CGI is very dodgy, especially during a certain moment. Considering what they were going for, I can't believe they released it like that. The CGI at that moment is my biggest complaint. Finally, The Flash. After all the silenced controversy of its protagonist, one of the most promising films of the last stage of DC comes to light. The film was quite promising, and on balance, it falls short. Join me to find out why without stripping a single spoiler. Let's start from the essential. The script. The story is basic to be a contemporary superhero movie. It contains humor, which feels excessive in the middle of the film. It has a lot of action from the very beginning of the footage, which is appreciated. But eventually we get to the topic of fashion. On a personal and subjective note, I'm already sick of the multiverse. At least be original and rename the concept. The next movie that dares to close down and make fun of this concept will have my wholehearted support. Anyway, this applies to using time travel, of course, and showing a couple of rather impressive cameos. The direction is quite interesting. It has very daring use of angles and lenses that work very well with the story. The photography is effective and the edition is quite precise. The soundtrack is one of the great elements of the film that knows how to deal with nostalgia, but at times it feels too patchy. The acting is decent, as is the costume design. The controversial element of this film is undoubtedly the visual effects. Surely the effects are present in almost the whole movie and almost half of them are pretty bad. The human figure has no real references neither in movements nor in logical details. I have seen video games from outdated consoles with a better visuals than The Flash. Anyway, The Flash is a basic, action-packed movie that tries to be fun and emotional but fails too much in VFX. An element that its target audience isn't forgiving in the year 2023. So, what's the verdict? The Flash is a thrilling ride that balances heart, humor, and high-stakes action. It's a must-watch for DC fans and anyone who loves a good superhero movie. Despite a few pacing issues, it delivers a satisfying story with plenty of surprises. Have you seen The Flash? What did you think of it? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this review, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Usof Reacts for more movie reviews and updates. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an upload. Until next time, stay super.